Today's adventure, this is going to be a special adventure because we're going to the cemetery. That is one of the reasons why I started this channel. Back in April of 2018, I went to the cemetery called Starr Cemetery. It's 3 miles down this abandoned road. This cemetery is very interesting. For one, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of woods, hard to get to. The only way I can get to it is with my bike, which is right over here, because I'm not walking 3 miles. And the second thing that's really interesting about this cemetery is not only it's an old pioneer cemetery, almost in perfect condition, but last time I was here, I heard a music box play as I was walking through the cemetery. And I do have that on video, and I will play it right now. Do you hear that? I hear bells. There's birds. Definitely birds. But I hear bells, like chimes, almost like ice cream vendor coming down the street, that like type of thing. It's gone now. I heard a music box play. It was one of the few times that I couldn't debunk anything, because I am in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around. There's no music box. There's some birds. You can hear some birds in the back, but birds don't sound like music boxes. So I'm coming back here today, and I'm coming back here with some paranormal equipment. I have my digital voice recorder, and I have my EDI Plus, which is a piece of equipment that measures temperature, pressure, electromagnetic field, vibration. I'm bringing those pieces of equipment with me today to see if maybe we can catch anything. And I'm going to do a thorough walk through the cemetery, and I'm bringing you along. So come join me as we explore Starr Cemetery. Okay everybody, we are at Starr Cemetery, and welcome and thank you for watching my videos. I literally just rode through a pop-up thunderstorm not more than 5 minutes ago, and the sky's already starting to clear, so that's nice. This cemetery is probably one of the more beautiful cemeteries I've ever been in. Very creepy looking as well, just because of the location out in the middle of nowhere. I am going to set up some of my equipment. What I am going to do, I think I was somewhere in this area over here by Myron Ward when I last heard the music box play. What I think I'm going to do is set up my equipment here, then I'm going to do a walk around the cemetery, and then come back and get my equipment and see later on if I've captured anything. Okay, so I have placed a digital audio recorder and an EDI meter. The EDI meter tracks temperature, barometric pressure, electromagnetic fields, and vibration. I put them next to each other on Sabrina's grave. She was okay with it. So I don't know if anyone here remembers me. I was here that one time several years ago, about 5 years ago, and you played a music box for me. So if you want to communicate with me today, you can go up to these devices and speak really loudly into the devices. They will not hurt you at all. I know it looks a little weird and you probably don't know what these are, but they will not hurt you. So if you'd like to do that, to communicate with me, to let me know you're here, what I'm going to do is walk around the cemetery and read your names so that you're not forgotten. We have Danielle McIntyre here, 1841 to 1895. And what I'll do is I'll let that run for a little while, and then I'll collect it, and then once I get home I can see if I got anything on it. This one's kind of all alone out here. Infant daughter of Owen M. Morgan, 1920. So when I was here 5 years ago, now let me just say this. Helen A. Corbett, wife of Thomas McQueen, 1905 is when she passed, and it looks like Thomas is not here. Let me say this. When I was here 5 years ago, I was doing a walk through here, and I didn't even have a YouTube channel at the time. I was just doing a video because the cemetery was really neat. McQueen is the name here. And I got to a point where I heard, well, I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was bells or chimes, but I realized later it was a music box is what I heard. And I will put a map up, if I haven't already, showing you the location of the cemetery. Bernice Jackson, 1910. There is nothing around here for 3 miles. That's how long it took me on my bike to get here, 3 miles to the nearest parking lot. Aaron Jackson, 1851 and 1904. And I heard a music box. I mean, there's nothing around here. So that has bothered me for the last 5 years, because I have been in haunted hotels, haunted restaurants, haunted theaters, haunted prisons, and I've never encountered anything paranormal. And I'm kind of a skeptic on that. And this is the only time that I've really encountered anything that I can't write off. So it looks like Margaret there, 1901. Kellogg is the name. 1905 there. This is the only time that something has happened that I can't dismiss. Albert Randolph, 1859 to 1909, and Rebecca, 1935. And you can see the person, E. Wunderlich is the one that carved that, did a really nice job on that with the script writing. So this has baffled me for 5 years. You know, the cemetery is, I mean, it's just in woods. There's nothing around. And I clearly heard a music box. And it just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. There's nothing here. Here's Jacobson. Chris, 1886. His wife, Mary Ann, 1927. And that's more of a modern stone. Here's one. Hard to see that for an infant. It must be an infant stone. So this cemetery is in the middle of the Joliet Arsenal. Joliet Arsenal was created in the early 1940s to support the efforts during World War II. They made munitions here. They made bombs. This cemetery pretty much became abandoned at that point, although there are some burials here after 1940s. Delancey Jackson, it looks like. Hard to see when the death date is. Died 1879, I believe. And this was a nice tombstone. There's a marble column here that was atop that. So this cemetery has sat abandoned for, 80 years. Here's infant, 1872 there. Andrew Jackson. Probably not that Andrew Jackson. A little hard to read, actually. Mary, his wife. 1916. Very nice. Okay, if anybody wants to communicate with me, please do so. You can make a noise, you can speak, you could even show yourself if you want. I may soil my pants if you do, but that's fine. Hard to read this one. Something Parker, it looks like, or Barker, or Baker, or something. Very old. And last time I was in here, there was a lot more brush. Here's Mother Minerva Cutshaw, 1874. And we have Father William, died in 1910, and here's the Cutshaw stone. Somebody has been in here and has cut down the brush, because I was not able to get to that Jackson stone there in the back, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Here's George E. Man, that's hard to read. But look at these little stones here. Probably children. Or they could be footstones as well. I made a critical error. I should have brought bug spray, but being that it's April, I did not think I would need it. But that's so much for thinking. Look at this one. This tree looks like it's fallen and has knocked over the Nelson stone. I'll have to see if this was upright last time I was here. William, 1905. Mary, 1904. Died really within, well, a year and a half of each other. Again, if anyone's here and wants to communicate, please do so. I'm not going to be here for a long time. Here's son, William, maybe Willie Nelson, 1925. Father, Leonard, died in 1932, so his son passed before him. Mother lived to 1947. And his other son until 1960. Wow. So last time I was here, I was not able to get to this stone. There was a large bush here. It was hard to get to, but this time it's been cleared out. Looks good. Mabel Irene Daly, born July 26, 1872, died November 30th, 1873. Poor little girl was not even a year and a half old. Joseph died 1879. I believe that's her father. And Lavina, she lived till 1910. So sad. Mother, father, and daughter. Don't know the last name, but we have Ursula, 1850 to 1940, so she was rather old, 89 or 90 years old. And Benjamin, with the Freemason symbol there, 1928 is when he expired. This ground is very, very uneven, almost dangerously so. I don't know if that's the animals or sunken graves or what that is. Here's Nathan, C-L-E-A-V, Cleveland. Nathan Cleveland is the name, and aged 33, August 31st, 18. Hard to read that. Very hard to read that. Just a beautiful cemetery. Absolutely beautiful. Let's see what we have here, if we can read this. I could read Anne. Died 1850 something, it looks like, August 9th for that one. Wow. Okay, we have Lucinda, wife of Duncan McIntyre, died 1890, age of 63 years old, 11 months it looks like, 26 days. This poor one has fallen over, and wow, that's a shame. I can't read that at all. That's too bad. Here's Margaret. This one is still in pretty darn good condition. Duncan McIntyre is the name. Died 1858. Age 51 years old. What a beautiful marker. It's another one. Hard to read. Another beautiful marker though. So here's my equipment recording, and I'm over here, so if there's any noise, it's just me right now. Don't want to get any false positives with me walking by here. S. Beeman died 1871. Is that E-L-S-I-N-A? Elsina? That's an interesting name. Here's Alonzo, son of Roswell and Amanda Knott. Born 1840, died 1855. So sad. Here's the father. Here's Roswell here. He died 1854. So Amanda lost her husband in 1854, and then her son in 1855. I don't see her grave here yet. Here's infant Knott. Looks to me like that's May something, 1851. A lot of loss in that family. Oh, here's Amanda here. Knocked over, unfortunately. She lived to 1889. 1816 to 1889, so she lived into her 70s. And here's the man for which the cemetery is named after, Mr. Charles Starr. Look at that. Born 1788, died February 1871. Beautiful. Here's Paulina, wife of Charles Starr. She died 1856. So she must have been rather young. Her age is there. Can't read it. Interesting. And then here we have a bunch of smaller tombstones. Unmarked, so I don't know if these could be footstones, perhaps. But somebody put them back in the bases. Yeah, D-M-C-I, D McIntyre. That's what I assume that is. Just beautiful. We have Sarah, infant daughter here. What a shame. 1869 to 1870. Sarah was barely a year old on this wardstone. That must be, and Myron here must be the a son. You could probably read that better than I can. I see something. Augusta, I think. Hard to read. I don't think these tombstones are in the location where they should be. They're just scattered about. Evelyn. Looks like February 6, 1850 something. See how they're lined up like this? I don't think that's how they originally were. Here's Charles, son of Ian P. Jackson. He died in 1870. The Jackson plot is across the cemetery, so I don't think Charles is really there. This was repaired a long time ago. Helen, I should say, wife of Enoch Jackson, of course, died, and the date is right where the crack is, right there. So you can't read the date, but you can see the repair, and you can see how old it is. Those are square nuts on those bolts. We don't use square nuts anymore, so that's very old. Let's see what we have here. John Warner, 1902. Julia, his wife, 1856. And Ada, oh, that's a shame. So it looks like Julia must have died during childbirth. She died 1856. Ada was born 1856 and lived to 1859. So unfortunately, both mother and child passed away. So sad. Those, but I'm happy they do that because you get the sense of the story then. Adeline, wife of M.J. Franklin, died 1866. Age looks like 43 there. Got Betsy, wife of John Meade. She died July 25th, 1866, age 81. And Adeline died July 25th, 1866 as well. And they happen to be right next to each other. Don't know if there's relation there, but it may not be coincidence. John Meade, he died 1881. You know, back then, these little communities were so tight-knit. You know, they all probably lived within a mile of the cemetery. Nancy Cox Meade, March 31st, 1901. She hath done what she could on that one. And we have Mother Morley, Ellen H., not Morey, 1843 to 1917. And this one's going to be a challenge. Challenge accepted. Leonard, it looks like. Challenge maybe failed. Born 1839, died September 7th, 1877. I have to do some investigation on that one to see if I could find the last name. All right, it's been over 10 minutes, almost 15 minutes, I believe, since I've turned these on. So if anyone wants to say anything into these devices, do so now, because I'm going to turn them off, and then you won't be able to communicate with me. Okay, guys, Sorry, this is still I'm still wet from the rain that happened a little while ago. This is the cemetery that made me decide to do a YouTube channel on cemeteries. I'm going to put it that way. One of the reasons why I started a YouTube channel is because of this cemetery. I came here, I found it, it's lost, it's isolated. Good thing is it is being kept up somewhat now because people have removed some debris in here, so it's good to see that. But it's just one of those classic cemeteries in the woods, not vandalized. I mean, it's just really an awesome old pioneer cemetery. I love it. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my content, please subscribe. And as always, until next time, keep exploring. All right, guys, so I left the cemetery. What I was trying to do was try to find the foundation of a house, because the houses usually were fairly near the cemetery. Did not find the foundation of the house, but I found this structure. It's a bunker. It's actually a bunker for munitions, for dynamite and gunpowder. And it's not far from the cemetery, and it's very hidden. Let's check this out, shall we? U.S. Army restricted area. Well, it used to be a restricted area. It's no longer. There should not be any explosives in here. There we go. 2331 explosive limit, 3,000 pounds, man limit 12. Wow, look at that. It's a concrete structure that's probably 25 feet by 25 feet. Square in nature. Probably a good 15 to 20 feet high. Amazing, really. Excellent shape. Great reverb. You can see the concrete walls are about a foot thick. Got a bird's nest in the door there. That is really, really neat. Explosive limit, 3,000 pounds. Here's these no longer move, but this was a solid door. And look at that, about 1.5 to 2 inch steel door. And you can see how it latched shut. Wow, that's really remarkable. Didn't think I'd be finding this today.